I want to start today with a story. Years ago at York's Ebor meeting, I stood next to a seasoned punter who was scribbling furiously in his race card. The big handicap of the day was coming up and he tapped his pen on one horse's name and said, "Down in grade, lump on, can't lose." That horse finished midfield, never landed a blow. Here's the thing, down in grade is one of the oldest clichés in betting. Punters love it. The logic seems sound. If a horse was competing against better animals last time, surely dropping into easier company means it'll shine. But as you probably know, if you've been around racing long enough, it's not that simple. In fact, the class drop angle is one of the most misunderstood and misused concepts in handicapping. Today, we're going to pull it apart. Why a class drop isn't always the positive the market thinks it is. How class droppers often get overbet into poor value. And importantly, the situations when a genuine class drop is a proper angle and how you can spot them without falling into the trap. By the end, you'll understand how to separate myth from logic and how to stop being seduced by one of the oldest traps in racing. And stick around until the end, because I've got two things for you. A free download of my red flag method, a simple checklist that helps you spot weak favourites and avoid exactly the kind of bad bets that class droppers often become. And a reminder to like, subscribe and review this podcast so you never miss future deep dives into racing's most misunderstood concepts. Alright, let's dig into the myth of class drops. The theory goes like this. Horse runs in a class 2 handicap and finishes 7th. Next time, it runs in a class 4 handicap. Punters think, easier race, it'll hack up. But here's why that logic fails more often than it succeeds. The context of the run matters. That 7th in a class 2 might not mean the horse is dropping into the perfect spot. Maybe the race was falsely run. Maybe the horse had an easy passage and still wasn't good enough. Simply being in higher grade doesn't guarantee merit. Often, horses dropping in grade are older, regressive types. The handicapper has dropped them down because their form has tailed off. Yes, they're in weaker company, but they're also weaker animals than they used to be. Distance and conditions. A horse dropping in grade but running over the wrong trip on the wrong ground or an unsuitable track is still at a disadvantage. Class is only one piece of the puzzle. Market overreaction. The words down in grade light up betting slips. Bookmakers know this. They shave the price. A horse that should be 8-1 becomes 4-1 purely because punters love the narrative. And that price, even if the logic holds, the bet is poor value. I remember a York spring meeting, a 7-year-old handicapper dropped from a competitive class 2 into a class 4. Everybody was on. The commentary was full of down in grade, surely his day. The horse went off favourite and finished 9th. Why? Because he was simply gone at the game. The drop didn't revive him. Let's dig deeper into the psychology of the market. Punters love a story. Back against better horses, now down in class. It's his race. It's simple, it's sticky, and it feels logical. But narratives don't cash tickets. Value does. The favourite bias. Markets naturally shorten horses that appear to have a simple angle. The more the commentary pushes down in grade, the shorter the horse gets. Look at big Saturday handicaps on the turf. You'll often see horses dropping from listed or group races into handicaps. The market loves them. They're nearly always shorter than they should be. But strike rates show they don't win as often as the odds imply. Even if a class dropper is more likely to win, the key is whether the odds reflect that. If a horse's true chance is 10%, but it's priced like 20%, you're burning money. That's the trap. Class droppers often go off at poor value. Bookmakers know the psychology. They'll frame the markets accordingly. A class dropper is rarely missed in the pricing. That's why blindly following the angle leads to the poorhouse. So does that mean that class drops are worthless? Not at all. They can be powerful if you know when to believe the drop. Firstly, younger horses in progression. A lightly raced 3-year-old has been trying class 2s and finds it tough, then comes down to a class 4. That's often a genuine edge because these horses are still improving, not regressing. Horses that are campaigned cleverly. Trainers sometimes pitch horses into higher races to drop the mark, then target a winner lower grade race. Spotting this intent can be gold. Proven form in higher class. A horse that actually ran well in higher classes, say finishing 3rd or 4th, beaten narrowly, dropping down is different to one finishing tailed off. It's a genuine strength. Right trip, right ground. Combine the drop with ideal conditions and you're in business. A sprinter back to 5 furlongs in a class 4 after being stretched at 6 furlongs in a class 2. That makes sense. At Haydock, a few summers back, a 4-year-old had been running with credit in class 2s, finishing close up, dropped to class 4 over its preferred trip. It went off at 4-1 and bolted up. That's the difference. Live form, right conditions, younger horse. Check for genuine class drops. Is the horse unexposed or still improving? Has it shown recent form in higher class? Is the trainer known for clever placing? Are the trip or the ground conditions suitable? Is the market overreacting or offering fair value? Only when most of these line up should it be down in grade and then become a green light. So what's the truth about class drops? They're certainly not automatic positives. They're often market traps. But in the right conditions, they're a powerful angle. The art of handicapping is context. A horse isn't just down in grade. It's a horse with a profile, a campaign, conditions and intent. You need to read the whole picture. Punters who lazily follow the cliche will keep donating to the bookmakers. Punters who learn to ask, is this a real class edge or just narrative, are the ones who'll survive. So next time you hear the phrase down in grade, don't reach for your wallet, reach for your logic. Ask yourself, is the horse improving or declining? Is the drop combined with the right trip and ground? Does the trainer's intent suggest this is the target? And most importantly, do the odds actually represent value? If you can answer those questions honestly, you'll stop falling for one of racing's biggest myths. And if you want to sharpen your discipline even further, download my free red flag method. It's a 5-minute checklist that helps you consistently spot weak favourites, the kind that so often pop up when punters overbet class droppers. There's a link in the description where you can go and grab it. And finally, if you're finding these episodes useful and it's changing how you think about betting, do me a favour, like, subscribe and leave a review. It helps me reach more punters and it ensures you never miss the next deep dive into logic behind racing. So thanks for listening, and remember, class is about more than numbers on a race card. See beyond the drop and you'll see where the real value lies. And as always, win quietly.